This video is sponsored by Ridge, but more about them later. In today's video, I'm going to look at stripping down this Manitou Magnum fork and replacing the Elastomers. This fork is from the depths of 1995, and like most forks of that time, the Elastomers have either solidified or liquefied. My fork has a tiny bit of movement, which is great, but it doesn't have anywhere near the mighty 2 inches of travel it should have. It should be a pretty easy job, and if you need to service yours, you can find Elastomers in the link that I'll leave in the description below. First up, getting the fork apart. I started by taking off the 2 screw caps to get to the elastomer stacks inside. They might be a little stiff, so a small adjustable should break them free. With the caps off, you can hopefully flip the fork upside down and the stack of 6 elastomers and 5 spacers should fall out of each side. There should be 4 elastomers left in the fork though, if you're lucky. To get to them, we have to flip the fork over and remove the 2 small hex screws holding the lowers on. Also, to make things a little easier, we're going to have to take the pressure off the upper seals by prising out the thin lock ring. A small screwdriver should do that job. With those off, I clamped the steerer in my vise and gave the lowers a sharp tug to get them off. And look at that mess. There's years of grime in there, but also the leftovers of the elastomers that should be at the bottom. At this point, you can see the dust seal cover, retaining ring, dust seal and upper bushing left on the stanchions, and at the bottom what's left of 1 elastomer on the compression rod, as well as the staging clip. To finish getting them stripped down, just slide everything off the uppers and put them to one side. Then all you have to do is lift off the staging clip so that the compression rod can be removed from the top of the stanchions, and would you look at that, 1 elastomer survived. The other side wasn't so lucky though. It's time for a deep clean, but before I do, it's time to thank today's fantastic sponsor, Ridge. You've all seen my garage, it's the definition of chaos, but my wallet is pure zen thanks to Ridge wallets. Ridge wallets are a sleek and stylish way to hold up to 12 cards and cash, coming in over 30 colours. I personally love the tiki design. Ridge wallets are RFID blocking, durable and compact, and I love that I can chuck them in even the smallest packs on my bike, knowing they'll keep my cards safe. I'm definitely someone who was guilty of hoarding a pile of receipts in my wallet, but with my new Tiki Ridge, life is a lot simpler. No more unsightly bulge. With over 40,000 5-star reviews, a Ridge wallet would make the perfect gift for Father's Day, and using my coupon code SHRED, you can get 15% off your purchase. Check out the link in the description for more details. Thank you Ridge for sponsoring this video, and now it's back to the build. Okay, so cleaning isn't fun, especially when you're dealing with melted elastomers. They're pretty tricky to deal with. I tried to scrape off as much as I could with a knife before spraying down parts with some brake cleaner to try and dissolve the leftover stickiness. It definitely helped using some wire wool though. It helped break down the goo easily and the cleaner finished the job. Inside the stanchions, I used a tube brush and brake cleaner. It's basically a round wire brush on a long stick, and it worked perfectly. Everything cleaned up nicely, and I even gave the aluminium a bit of a polish up too. The part we've all been waiting for, reassembly. I've got fresh elastomers, fresh grease, new seals and a parts diagram. The first elastomers to install are the rebound elastomers that go at the top of the compression rod. I used a bit of lube on the rod, slid on the elastomers, added a little more lube and then dropped them into the stanchions. Next, I built up a stack of 6 elastomers with the new dividers, but then realised it was easier to lube them up in groups, so partly separated them anyway. I gave them a good coating of lube, then dropped them in the stanchions on top of the compression rods. The adjuster cap or top cap can go on then. You'll have to compress the stacks to get them to screw on. Just be careful you don't cross thread them. Now here's kind of why I mentioned the parts diagram. There's 2 elastomers left to fit, the second stage elastomer. The parts diagram shows it at the bottom of the compression rod, whereas if we think back to the start, the original position appeared to be above the clip. So, at this point of editing, and after actually reading the manual, I need to reposition my elastomer. For the Magnum, the second stage elastomer needs to go above the clip. The only model that used an elastomer below was the M4. So lube up the compression rod, slide on the elastomer all the way to the top, pop on the clip, and that's the elastomer installed. I'll have to take mine back apart and reposition the elastomer. Final part, the dust seal cover, retaining ring, dust seal and upper bushing need to be slid onto the stanchions, and then the lowers can be slid on. I added a bit of grease just inside the lowers for an added peace of mind. Once the lowers are slid on, the 2 retaining screws in the bottom can be refitted. Then the upper bushing, dust seal, retaining ring and cover can all be popped into place. A small screwdriver can be used to help you here. Just be careful not to slip and damage the seals or coating. And that's it. One fully serviced 1995 Manitou Magnum. It was nice to try something different, servicing a basic fork like this, but I've definitely shown, if you have instructions, read them. I need to switch the bottom elastomers around now. Apart from that, I hope I've shown you a clear way to service these forks that's easy to understand. All I've got to do now is find a boat to put them on. Remember, the links to the new elastomers, seals and documents are in the description. Please check out Ridge, and thanks again for supporting the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.